When we told folks we were going to Molokai, we either got confused looks or comments that it wouldn't take us long before we were bored out of our minds. I've always wanted to go there to try and experience a little of what old Hawaii might have been like. Molokai is a lush and peaceful island that harkens back to the original Hawaiian taro farmers and fishermen. It is also the birthplace of the hula and has an untouched feeling to it centuries later. So with my husband, sister, and brother-in-law in tow, we ventured off to discover Molokai. Even though it sits in the middle of the Hawaiian island chain, separated by only 8 short miles to Maui and 25 miles to Oahu at the nearest points, it's the least visited island of them all, and the least developed as far as tourism is concerned. It's pretty straightforward with one major road that goes east-west. In the southern middle lies the main town. We decided to split our time on each end of the island to minimize driving time. From Oahu, you'll leave from the laidback Terminal 3, and the Wiki shuttle drops you off right there. It even has its own food truck. There are no long lines, and pretty much anything goes, such as liquids and gels as far as luggage requirements. You won't find large jet planes landing here, but instead the island is serviced by Mokulele Airlines, the only commuter airline service with a fleet of small twin-prop planes. Getting to Molokai from Oahu is an adventure in itself for the uninitiated. There were a couple of nervous folks on board, but I had total confidence in these planes. We've been on one of these before in the Bahamas, but maybe not as small as this one, 9 passengers tops. Sit on the left side for gorgeous views of Waikiki Beach and Diamond Head Crater. Isn't that stunning? Landing on Molokai, you'll notice the green open spaces right away. I love these quiet airports. You can just breeze right through them. We actually made a wrong turn getting out of the airport because it may be obvious to many, but not Dave, as there are no exit signs, even though you can see the main road from the airport. Yep, city folk. There are absolutely no traffic lights on the island, a novelty that is most appreciated by us weary city commuters. Kaunakakai, the main town, has only 2 gas stations on the island, and what traffic exists is found on the main street stretching a couple blocks as drivers look for parking spots. You may have read of the general resistance to large-scale tourism development such as chain hotels and cruise ships. That's evident in the West End, where the Sheraton Molokai Hotel sits abandoned after the developers failed to get approval to build luxury subdivisions. The foreign owners of the land, Molokai Ranch, decided to cease operations in 2008, including the hotel, and has been listed for sale since 2017. The golf course was covered in wildflowers when we were there, one of the benefits of El Niño, but it's usually quite dry. Even though the hotel is closed, there are timeshare vacation complexes and a decent general store that remains open on the grounds next to the abandoned resort. In the West End, we stayed at Maunalola, one of the complexes there. The West End is typically drier than the East. Here you'll find the longest beach in all Hawaii, and in the winter when we visited, heavy surf. We were lucky to come across the endangered Hawaiian monk seal sunbathing on the shores. It's a wonderful, laid-back feeling as you explore beaches all day. A short 10-minute drive from our accommodations, you'll find the tiny town of Maunalola, population 279, and it feels almost like a ghost town as you drive past buildings like the Maunalola Theater, left behind when the developers left. The post office was the center of activity when we were there. But the real reason you'll want to come here is to visit Big Wind Kite Factory, which makes beautiful handmade windsocks and kites. We met Zach, the owner, who was born there, and chatted with him.
So you make them all now?
Yeah, I've been making them all my whole life.
I read the story, like your dad started this, right?
Yep, 1980.
Huh.
I was born in 1982. I literally grew up in this place.
I love these.
Yeah, and our Aloha windsocks have really helped out. These are our #1 sellers on Etsy.
Before you head off to your accommodations, if it's out of town, it's worth stopping at one of the 2 grocery stores in Kaunakakai to get the best selection. The hub of activity can be found inside the stores, where locals catch up as they shop. Don't forget to stop by the bakery too and pick up some local pineapple bread. It's so soft and delicious. We didn't make it for the late night bread run though. You won't find big name chains like McDonald's or Starbucks here, but you'll get your fix in town at either Molokai Burgers or Maka's Corner. Both had great burgers. En route to the West End, we stopped at Kumu Farms, which had a great selection of organic produce. I can't believe I spent $9 on a pineapple though, but it was nice and sweet. There's also a church thrift shop and a garden not far, where they sell local salts, jams, and pottery among other things. Sorry, we forgot to take footage of it as we were chatting with the 2 friendly women who run the store, but you can find it on Google Maps. What Molokai is known for especially is the former leper colony located on the Kalaupapa Peninsula, on the northern part of the island. As you gaze down from the overlook, you can just imagine the sadness that this place had seen. In 1865, the Hawaiian monarchy, led by King Kamehameha V, evicted the original inhabitants living there, so that he could forcibly confine those infected with leprosy instead. Out of the pain and suffering, a Belgian priest by the name of Father Damien dedicated over 15 years of his life helping the patients. Fast forward to today, incredibly, there are currently 8 residents who still call the peninsula their home. Pre-COVID, there were tours and mule rides that took visitors down to the peninsula. In 2020, access was closed, but this time it was voluntary to keep the disease affecting the rest of the world out. It was still closed to visitors when we were here in February 2024, but you can view the settlement from the top of the cliff. The sheer sea cliffs here are among the world's highest, ranging from 3,000 to 4,000 feet and mostly inaccessible, except of course for the path down the cliff that's temporarily closed. There's a short detour through the pine forest from the lookout to visit an interesting rock formation. It is said to bring fertility to anyone who spends a night there. Around the island you will see lots of memorials commemorating the work that Father Damien did here to help the people in the colony. On the way back down you'll pass a small shopping plaza. Hawaii has a lot of cats, and we discovered a cat sanctuary there as we were returning to town from the lookout. There's a great cafe in the shops across, so definitely worth a stop for some great Molokai grown coffee. Next, as we explore the east end, it's even quieter with a rugged coastline and lush vegetation. The last few kilometers before the road ends in the Halawa Valley is quite hairy with blind turns, and it narrows to one lane in parts. Our plans were to do a waterfall hike, which we highly recommend.
So it's been raining the past few days and we have booked this hike to go to the Halawa Falls, but we just found out we got cancelled because of high water crossing. We're going to try and book again later this week.
Another time,
Oh, yeah.
rebook.
Yep.
It can be accessed only with a guide as you cross private lands. Please respect the locals and don't try to do this on your own. We chose to visit with Kalani from Molokai Flowers. Full footwear is recommended, although Kalani will walk in his slippers no problem. There's a small water crossing over large boulders, but you can take your shoes off and walk across, which I would recommend. His tour is focused on plants and fruits, and at the end you stop for a visit of his gardens and pets, and a yummy smoothie made with fruits from the garden. It feels like you're visiting friends at this point. His wife makes delicious homemade chocolates and offers a class, which we would have done if we had known. I'd recommend booking directly with him via email. You'll find the link in our description. Now for trip logistics. But first, if you enjoyed watching this, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. We would truly appreciate it. The island isn't for everyone, but we really enjoyed it. The people we met were friendly, and it's nice to have the chance to slow down and relax. To add on a week to your Hawaii vacation in Molokai, it cost us $1,700 US for 2 people, with shared costs for a car and accommodations. Car rental is pricey here. Molokai Outdoors has the best prices for decent cars, but you'll need to source your own insurance, and we couldn't find a decent provider for Canadians. So we went with Alamo, which was also conveniently located in the airport. Check the rates regularly as the price dropped 2 weeks before our trip, and so we were able to take advantage of that. For our East End accommodations, we stayed at Wavecrest, which is about a 20-minute drive from town. It doesn't sound far, but it is when you end up going back and forth. The grounds are nice and some units are updated, but would recommend staying right in town instead for a few nights since it's not close to anything. We preferred staying at the Peninsula Halle in the West End, so definitely stay in that area for a few days if you can. There are no restaurants in the West, so you'll have to cook all your meals. You can, however, step out easily and walk to the beaches. catch a sunset at the end of the day, and the golf course is also fun to walk through. Thank you so much for watching. Leave us a comment if you have any questions or feedback. We'd love to hear from you.